Welcome to the lesson on an introduction to decimals. The objectives for this lesson are to explain what a decimal is, understand tenths and hundredths, and relate decimals to fractions. We already know what 1/10 means, 1 out of 10 equal parts. So if a whole is divided into 10 equal parts, 1/10 will look like this. We can write exactly the same quantity as a decimal. So 1 over 10 is 1/10, and this can also be written as 0.1 as a decimal. We will now show a 10-part bar progressively shaded. So 2/10 equals 0.2, and it will look something like this. 5/10 is 0.5, and that will look something like this. 5 parts shaded out of 10. 7/10 equals 0.7, and that's the same as shading 7 parts out of 10. And 10/10 make one whole. In other words, 10 parts shaded out of 10. We now take a look at the decimal point in more detail. Let's now take a look at an example, 3.7. The dot is called the decimal point. Numbers to the left of the decimal point represent whole numbers. So here, the ones are represented by the number 3. And the first position to the right represents tenths. So in this example, we have 7/10. And therefore, 3.7 means 3 wholes and 7/10. We can divide a whole into even smaller parts. When it is divided into 100 equal parts, each part is 1/100th. So let's take this example of a grid. This is a 10 by 10 grid. So we have 100 squares in this grid. 1/100ths is written as 0.01, and it's represented by one shaded part out of the 100 squares. We can also write 25 over 100 equals 0.25, which in this diagram is represented by 25 squares shaded out of 100. And similarly, 50 out of 100 equals 0.5, which equals 1 over 2, and that is represented by 50 squares shaded out of 100. Or 1 part out of 2, as shown here. Decimals can also be placed on a number line. Between 0 and 1 we can see the tenths, as shown in this diagram. If we start from 0 and we move to the right, as shown here, if we jump once, twice, 3 times and 4 times, we arrive at 0.4. And if we keep jumping to the right, once, twice and 3 times, we arrive at 0.7. So as we've moved to the right, the numbers have become larger. And we can put in the other decimals as shown here. Fractions and decimals are not different quantities. They are simply different ways of writing the same quantity. For example, 1/2 is the same as 0.5. Can you express the fractions on your screen as decimals? Have a go. Press play when you're ready to view the solutions. So, 1 over 10 is the same as 0.1. 3 over 10 is the same as 0.3. 1 over 2, if we multiply top and bottom by 5, gives us 5 over 10. So you can therefore see that 5 over 10 is the same as 0.5. And for 3 over 4, if we multiply top and bottom by 25, we obtain 75 over 100. So you'll be able to see that 75 over 100 is the same as 0.75. Let's now take a look at the decimal point in more detail. The position of each digit is important. Immediately after the decimal point are the tenths, and next come the hundredths. So, in this example, 4.37 means 4 ones, and then the decimal point, and 3 tenths, and 7 hundredths. So let's summarize what we've learnt today. In this session, we've learnt that a decimal can represent part of a whole. The first place after the decimal point represents the tenths. The second place represents the hundredths. And fractions and decimals can represent the same value. Now pause the slideshow and have a go at these exercises. The solutions will be released one at a time, so you can check your answers as you go along. Pause the slideshow whenever you need to. Now pause the slideshow and have a go at these exercises. The solutions will be released one at a time, so you can check your answers as you go along. Pause the slideshow whenever you need to. This brings us to the end of this session. Do attempt the exercises in your textbook related to this topic. Thank you very much for listening.